it, but I wish that I had started long before.
I know what's happened to us. I know how much music we've lost. We are going through our changes in front of everybody. And by God, we've been through them.
I need more on that. Let's bring it up a bit. Good, there you go. Stand by and try it again.
What's happening is you have a lot of kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old who've never driven a motorcycle that see these ads that say 0 to...
The story tonight is about self-destruction. We all know people who, despite their skill, talent, and opportunity to succeed, just never live up to their potential. They are their own worst enemies. Crosby, Stills, and Nash are exactly that. They were a supergroup of the 60s in whose harmony was woven the hopes and dreams of a generation. But by their own admission, Crosby, Stills, and Nash never attained the dream nor the potential of their music. Their struggle is not an unfamiliar one, but in the world of rock and roll, their candor is unique. Nash, a poor kid from England, was determined to stay out of the local foundry where his father worked. He was once perceived as the least gifted. Now he's the group's driving force. David Crosby, the son of a Hollywood cinematographer, had it all as a kid, but robbed houses for excitement. Crosby is considered the innovator. Stephen Stills' family was always on the move, and that left him independent and an outsider. All agree that he is the most talented musician. Their voices first melded in this song in 1968.
When I first sang with David and Stephen, my life changed dramatically. I've been grinning about it ever since. I will never forget that. I know how good we can be. I know what a responsibility we have to whatever muse up there or around gave us that moment and gave us that ability to sound like that. I will settle for nothing less. I think every artist has a responsibility to reflect the times that he lives in and the problems that faces.
In the 1960s and early 70s, Crosby, Stills, and Nash not only reflected the times, they were part of them, acting as troubadours, carrying the news to a troubled generation. Their solution was peace, love, and teaching the children to understand.
Just have a code that you can live by.
But this peaceful world of happiness and equality, which flowed from their harmony, was something they could never find off stage. Instead, there have been years of turmoil and overblown egos.
Stephen has never thought that we were equal. For many years, I thought that me and David were treated as Stephen's backup singers. You know, because that's the way Stephen treats us sometimes. But, you know, you can't do that with me and David, you know. So he has a hard job. You know, I know what he'd really like. He'd like us to shut up and just sing.
That's been the friction.
And he lost a lot. He lost a lot of friendship and he lost a lot of love. And that's the first time I've ever said that. And when he sees this, he'll probably be very upset. But it's true. He shut us out for many years in his egotistical quest to be better than anybody.
You've been kind of at the center of the storm in the gyrations that the group has gone through.
Could have fooled me. A lot of it is just accidental, you know. I don't know. It's by me. What'd Graham say?
Graham Nash said, straight out, straightforward, that oftentimes Stephen Stills has treated you like backup people over the years, and that has created friction.
I'm sure that Stephen has felt the same way.
For all the fussing that everybody hears about, we sure do accommodate each other's ideas real quick. You know, it's, oh, I'll try that. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Soldiers of Peace?
Yeah. I found something that is in the other direction, but you might like it.
It is 2 days before they go on tour, and Stephen Stills is 4 hours late for rehearsal, and maybe just a little drunk. As often happens here, accommodation gives way to anger.
You want to fucking work? Get your axe on. Unless you want to get it over with now, and I'll call my partner in and trash the out of you. Now get your guitar on and stop fucking around. I cannot sing a song with you if I hate your guts right now because you pissed me off about something you did. And we've never done that with ourselves. And consequently, it's only been 4 albums. It's a lot more music, and hopefully that we'll feel better with each other and we'll get it done. Hopefully. But don't hold your breath.
Many times before, they'd gone their separate ways, but each time they found they were far more successful together than they ever were apart.
You tend, in the business I'm in, to get all wrapped up in yourself and think you're the center of the universe, and you're not the center of nothing out here.
David Crosby's problem wasn't as much ego as it was hard drugs. He once sailed his boat to escape the death of his lover, to escape his addiction to heroin and cocaine, to escape 5 years in prison. Finally, he turned himself in.
That was the bottom. Then I kicked 2 drugs in solitary for a long time. I spent 4 months in solitary.
Bad months.
Horrible. They lock you in a steel box and feed you through the door. That's how you kick drugs in prison, kids. Check it out. It's not funny. If I had to choose between being an addict again and going back to prison for another year, take me.
Crosby spent nearly a year in a Texas jail. He's now on probation for 4 years and has to submit to regular drug testing. His first gig out of prison was in a small club in Texas. He'd never before played on stage without drugs. What did your addiction do to Crosby, Stills, Nash?
Nearly destroyed it. And also there was a constant worry that I would die from an overdose or from a seizure or from, you know, I almost did a number of times.
There were times when he was that bad, when I didn't think he'd make it through a show. Yep. And I wondered, you know, in my insatiable quest for music, whether I had the right to demand one more song out of him, you know. I went through a lot of personal trauma about it all.
You were trying at the time to get him off drugs.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, on performance day, you had to turn your head because you knew if he didn't have the drugs, he couldn't perform. He was your bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the group.
Yep. Right. It's a drag, isn't it? But you're right. There were times when we said, we're not going to go on tour. Then David would say, okay, then I'll go in and I'll be clean for the tour. And then David doesn't get clean. Now you're facing major lawsuits on a massive scale. You're talking millions of dollars. And then you go, now what do we do?
But as his friend,
what should I have done? Kept the music from him as well? My friendship, my love, and the music? I couldn't do it.
I love music, man. I kept it real important. But anybody that tells you you can do it and do drugs, send them to me. I'll talk to them. It's just bull. It's not true.
it took you 20 years to figure that out.
Yeah. It's the only terminal illness that tells you you're fine. If you have the guts to kick it, you will get everything you really wish you had.
For Crosby, that was his marriage to Jan Dance last May. His closest friend, Graham Nash, joined him, renewing his vows of 10 years to his wife, Susan. It had the look of a new era for the group, a peaceful day with no drugs and no alcohol, except maybe for Stephen Stills. With Crosby playing it straight, that's become an explosive issue.
They take it, don't let them take it away.
There are published reports that an album of exceptional music, some of which was unveiled in their successful summer tour, may now be in jeopardy because of new friction over Stills' alleged alcohol and drug use.
Hey, Stills, you want to do this or you want us to do it without you?
What?
It's widely talked about
What is?
that Stephen has an alcohol problem, that he has a drug problem.
What are you going to say next?
Does that hurt the band?
Sure.
It's hurting it now?
You know what? Me being straight hurts the band. Because Stephen doesn't like it. David, having had the courage to go right to the edge of death and come back, hurts the band because Stephen doesn't like that, because it threatens him, because Stephen knows that he may have to do the same, and Stephen doesn't know whether he can. I think he can.
I mean, everybody says that, you know, everybody should quit drinking and everything, and I'm just, you know, I'm saying, no, man. You know, I really love fine wine and good scotch, and that's the end of that.
And your background, I mean, you aren't exactly known as a teetotaler.
I like to party, all right?
Right. David says now that he really sees that drugs and alcohol really have a negative effect on everybody's creativity. You buy that?
A lot of great writers drank, and some to excess. And, you know, and there have been times when my performance wasn't as good as it could be because I've been drinking too much of late, you know, but that is, you know, that's my own thing to deal with, and I'm not going to do it publicly.
And it's not their business?
Or yours. Thank you.
But I'm saying Graham or David.
My ass, I said it's the end of the subject.
We are going through our changes in front of everybody. And by God, we've been through them, you know. But it takes courage to do that. You know, we could have had a publicity guy direct everything. We didn't. We met life face on, and we suffered for it. But we're real. We're as real as you can get in the rock and roll world, you know. And sometimes it's painful to look at, and sometimes it's thrilling to listen to. And that's what you get. You buy your ticket, pal, you better expect it all.
Find the cost of freedom buried in the ground. Mother Earth will swallow you. Lay your body down. More than what I wanted, but I wish that I had started long before.
I know what's happened to us. I know how much music we've lost. We are going through our changes in front of everybody. And by God, we've been through them.
I need more on that. Let's bring it up a bit. Good. There you go. Stand by and try it again.
What's happening is you have a lot of kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old who've never driven a motorcycle that see these ads that say 0 to...
The story tonight is about self-destruction. We all know people who, despite their skill, talent, and opportunity to succeed, just never live up to their potential. They are their own worst enemies. Crosby, Stills, and Nash are exactly that. They were a supergroup of the 60s in whose harmony was woven the hopes and dreams of a generation. But by their own admission, Crosby, Stills, and Nash never attained the dream nor the potential of their music. Their struggle is not an unfamiliar one, but in the world of rock and roll, their candor is unique. Once perceived as the least gifted, now he's the group's driving force. David Crosby, the son of a Hollywood cinematographer, had it all as a kid, but robbed houses for excitement. Crosby is considered the innovator. Stephen Stills' family was always on the move, and that left him independent and an outsider. All agree that he is the most talented musician. Their voice... Graham Nash, a poor kid from England, was determined to stay out of the local foundry where his father worked. He was